It's the moment that we've all been waiting for, the matchup that we've all been waiting for as the leaders take on each other. The SG Alpine Warriors against the Ganges Grandmasters. A big one, Sagar.
Yes, and on the top board we have Magnus Carlsen taking on Vishy Anand. Between them, they have 10 world titles. Wow, what a matchup this is going to be. And we have the opening move that is about to be made, and on the screen we have Hisham Al Taher, the General Secretary of Asian Chess Federation. I think Vishy today might go for 1e4, which has worked very well for him.
It's incredible to see these two players fight. They have such a strong history. They've played 2 World Championship matches against each other. Here they are fighting for their teams in a very critical round. It's about to start. It's lights, camera, action.
I think today Magnus has to strike for his team, and so does Gukesh. He has been in not a great form. He's on 1 out of 6, which is quite terrible considering how good Gukesh is.
But the one player who has been in form for the SG Alpine Warriors is Praggnanandhaa, and we have a French defense on the board.
Magnus going for a very sharp opening. He's like, let's play for a win. We have the win hour. Wow.
Let's take a look at what's happening all around. It's a team competition. Every board matters. Every player counts.
Right. It seems like one board where we have some kind of action is on board number 5, because I think the last move was not at all appreciated by the computer. Maybe it's just something. So can we have a look at that?
That is Bella Kotanashvili against Elizabeth Pa. It's the middle bottom board that we see. We see that last move. It's been awarded by a question mark, which means that it is indeed an inaccuracy in the position. Salim, what's your opinion about this?
I have seen similar motives with this push in a very similar situation. So it could be preparation, and also you have to keep in mind that white sometimes take risks in this rapid time controls, not going for objectively the best moves, but just trying to make it as sharp as possible.
There we have both the players. Bella actually beat Elizabeth Pates in their last encounter, and so Elizabeth would be looking for striking back, but it seems like the position is very complicated over there.
It looks like the craziest position. I'm just worried that both players are very well prepared. I think this came from the French also as well, or not? Can we see how it came here?
Let's do a quick action replay. We're going to go quickly through how we got to this madness position. It did indeed start with the French, the same opening that we've seen on the icon board. In fact, a same move order as well, with some changes eventually.
How likely is it that Arjun and Magnus sat down together and prepared the French yesterday on the rest day?
Yeah, or play the bullet match in this line.
And let's tell everyone the French opening is when Black responds on move number 1, advancing the king's pawn to just 1 step forward. And we see a pawn has been picked up here by Arjun. That's brave play. Bring up our bird's eye view and take a look at Praggnanandhaa, the junior board. He is playing against Andrei Esipienko. He's on a 5.5 out of 6. Salim, he's on fire.
Yeah, I mean 5.5 is crazy, right?
Yeah, he's playing so well. And guys, do you know that he's himself scored more wins than all of the teammates victories put together in his team? So that's just amazing what Prag is doing here.
Incredible gameplay by Praggnanandhaa. He became a Grandmaster when he was 12 years old. He's one of the youngest Grandmasters in the history of the game.
Tanya, should we zoom out a bit and go to another board? Maybe we have a very quick look at board number 2 between Richard Rapport and Gukesh, because look at Rapport, how he has transported his rook to the king side for the attack.
Does this rook just jump from f1 to g4?
It just did. It starts on this square, it's landed on this square, and the path it took was you first castle, bring your rook to the central file, do a rook lift, do you even rook lift, and then you slide across the board, and now you're targeting a weakness. But white needs more forces to bring on the attack. Is this a very dangerous attack for black?
I just actually noticed that it's even white to move. I thought that it's black to move, and it looked very scary. I mean, no, this is looking very, very scary for black. It can already be bad. I can see so many threats, like, okay, what happens if knight starts jumping? Of course, like knight f5, simply, what's going on there?
Yeah, and you're piling up the pressure on the g-pawn.
For example, there's a nice mate. Okay, it's not necessary, but let's say rook g8, would be natural to protect the knight g5 and
Ooh.
followed by rook h4 queen. So,
That's stunning.
Oh.
Knight g5 threatens the pawn, and I've got to show this whole idea. Yes, you can pick up my knight, but you know what? I want to land on the h line. I first land with my rook. This is clearance. Salim on the spot with tactics. The queen jumps in.
Beautiful.
Only move.
so the queen is already attacking from there, yeah?
Bishop goes to a6 and the knight jumps in. It still looks very, very nice position for Yifan, right?
Yes, yes. And you can imagine this knight from d6 comes to f6. Sometimes it might look empty, like there is no mate. But there will be always issue with the first rank, and if we ever get in the end game, then white is simply king up.
King is trapped on the side of the board
Yes.
forever.
Yes.
Ooh.
So we just imagine the knight here and black's king stuck on the corner, and that's no But guys, black has managed to open some files as well for counterplay.
Yes.
It's not that easy.
And she's an exchange up
Yes.
now. So the knight is, of course, as valuable as a rook here because so beautifully positioned like an octopus on d6.
Ooh.
But
So
at
we
the
gotta
same
tell
time,
people, we
I
gotta
think
tell
the
everyone
technical
why
name for that piece is a
this
kraken. Yeah, that's the kraken over there.
The
a
kraken.
kraken. That knight is, in Chasam, sometimes you describe this as the octopus post because it can jump and control 8 squares on the board. So just like 8 legs, you've got all these squares under your defense, under your support, and this is where you want your knight, an octopus outpost.
absolutely. And Irina somehow has to figure out how to get rid of that octopus, but she has some material in the bag for all her sufferings, and I think that should be good enough for her to hold the balance.
It's a very interesting position because king actually black's king is quite safe, and the knight is controlling good squares, of course. But let's say the b file is very important, which the knight does not control. Also,
Right.
you can imagine black queens infiltrate through a7 to g1, and you know. So it's yeah, it's also very nice for black. I think it's completely unclear.
Right. Meanwhile, Tanya, I think we should quickly jump. We should stick here. Yes, okay.
I want to jump over to the board you want, but just a point to make here, and Sagar, you know I love doing this. If white's queen can land here, this would be checkmate, but notice how there's no way to do that. Meanwhile, we're getting a big update that in
Draw.
fact this one did end in a draw. It was a perpetual. Arjun Arigasi with some precise play in a difficult opening, Salim.
Yes, it was a heroic effort. I mean, to be sitting there calmly calculating against basically the computer and a very strong player. It's amazing.
Well
Yeah,
done
and,
by Arjun.
That is a very nicely played game in which I think Linier potentially knew everything until the very end. But there is a massive update on board 1 where Magnus took some time and then said, I clearly have a pretty easy way to equality, but I want to try for more. And he just sacrificed the pawn on the king's side, which Vishy for now declined to accept, which is an interesting response for me
Why
because
didn't he take it?
Hmm?
Why didn't he take the pawn?
I'm not entirely sure because tolerating that pawn on g3 is also going to be quite annoying. I don't know exactly what Vishy intends to do from here. This is a bit confusing to me.
Let's bring up our analysis board and show the lines that Master Swidler's talking about. This was the moment, and right here, Magnus decides to sacrifice a pawn to open some potential G lines. And Peter, we were looking at this position. White can capture the pawn with the knight and the king. It's clear you shouldn't take it with the king. It allows the check, and you end up losing the G2 pawn. But as you were mentioning, that Magnus, in fact, could have taken this pawn with the knight.
Yeah, it was, I think, very timely push because now, let's say, if Magnus plays the rook g8, then the knight will be stuck because you can't move it due to the g2. And black has an additional idea of rook g4
Ooh.
attacking f4, and it's hard to protect. So you don't have the time to go like rook d1, rook g1 protecting
Right.
and consolidating. So it was a timely push. And now after, I think, Vishy moved his king, he's now maybe threatening to take this pawn. And what happened? He protected the pawn, yeah?
Wow, and we've
Ooh,
got
by
a
the way-
big result, Sagar, a big update coming in that Rehad Rapo has won his game against Gukesh. That is the 6th loss for Gukesh.
Right, and that means Ganges Grandmasters are leading this match with a score of 4-1 now with 4 matches to go. Brilliant play by Richard Rapport there, and this means that SG Alpine Warriors need someone to strike. Tanya, is it going to be Magnus Carlsen on board number 1?
For now, it's all eyes on Andrea Sipenko taking on Praggnanandhaa. What makes Prag so strong in these formats?
Yeah, I think his calculation in general is amazing. He's well prepared, and he has the will to always play for a win. So He has the full package.
Very well said there. And also the knight. Look at that. It's stuck right inside White's camp. What is it doing there?
It's insane because not only is it inside White's camp, it's begging to be taken.
Yes.
He's saying, you know what, you take this knight, my pawn will take the place of that knight, and then look at that monstrous bishop. This opens up, you start pushing your pawn forward, your pieces are coming in for White's king. This is dominating knight. It's a nightmare for White.
Absolutely, and both players down to 1 minute on the clock. Tanya, anything can happen
We
in this game.
absolutely should be watching this board.
Wow. And meanwhile, another result coming in as Yifan has won her game against Irina Crush, but it's all eyes on this one. Let's stick to this as Andrea Sipienko is down to 11 seconds. Both players under 20 seconds on the clock. Can Prague take this point for the SG Alpine Warriors?
Very important. Vishy resigns. Magnus has done it for his team.
You know why he resigned? Because the knight will be in time on G6.
F4 and G6, yeah.
And the black
Wow.
pawn, a queens, and an
What a
unbelievable game.
game.
This has been the game of the Global Chess League so far. These two titans fighting it out till the end. What a genius have we witnessed.
And look at Vishy. He's not even like upset there because the game was so good. The game was
And the
so good.
the SG
And
Alpine Warriors are celebrating their win right now. They've got moments to be so happy with the way their icon has played.
And I just want to
Absolutely.
point out that today, as on many other days, but today in particular, there's a lot of people there watching it live, and what a spectacle they've just witnessed. Just imagine
agree.
watching this live as an amateur, as somebody who just decided to randomly choose today
This
to
is
watch top level play, and this is the game you get.
chess at its finest. Mika.
Absolutely, this is fantastic.
And this endgame was
What a game this was. Both players fighting their best, and applause there, a very well-deserved applause for both Vishwanathan Anand and Magnus Carlsen. Just amazing stuff.
Brilliant. Look at Magnus. He's smiling there. He knows he's done it for his team. Wow. Huge, huge victory there for SG Alpine Warriors.